This museum opened in 1947 and is the site of the former Auschwitz-I and Auschwitz-II Birkenau camp, and it's the largest extermination centre and is the only preserved camp in its original condition. In this video you will see the grounds of where Jewish families awaited death. Auschwitz is a symbol of state terrorists, genocide and the Holocaust. Men, women and children were sent directly to the gas chambers upon their arrival. It is estimated that at least 1,100,000 Jews were sent to the camp, nearly 150,000 Poles, 23,000 Roma from several European countries. Over 15,000 Soviet prisoners of war and over 10,000 prisoners from other countries were also sent to Auschwitz. The majority of them perished there. The entrance to Auschwitz I is the gate with the inscription Arbeit macht frei, which means work will make you feel free. This is where prisoners walked through on their way to long hours of hard labour. In the evening, exhausted, they returned to the camp carrying the bodies of the murdered. The Auschwitz I concentration camp was established in June 1940 on the outskirts of Wrocław, which later became Auschwitz. This was the grounds of a Polish army barracks. It comprised 20 buildings already standing there. This map of Europe shows the principal places where trains full of deportees, mostly Jews, originated. This is an urn containing the ashes of the murdered. The ashes were gathered after the war in the vicinity of the crematorium. These are Zyklon B cans which were dumped in the gas chambers to asphyxiated the people there. The corpses were then burned in the crematoria. From 1942, this was the largest concentration camp. In Block 5, we see the evidence of the crimes. Here we see some glasses. Along with Jewish prayer shawls. Also, items of the disabled who were slave labourers and murdered in the gas chambers immediately after arrival after the selection process on the ramp. We also see some pans, bowls and everyday utensils. Also suitcases belonging to Jews deported to the camp. Children's shoes can also be seen here. The registration procedure was a traumatic experience for new arrivals in the camp. Usually unable to understand orders given in German, the prisoners were objects to harassment and physical assault. Prisoners were photographed in profile, full face and three-quarter views. The combination of an inadequate quantity of food, starvation, sickness caused a lot of deaths in the camp. Approximately 700 children lived to see freedom in Auschwitz. In the first months of the Auschwitz camp, prisoners spent the night crowded on the floor. They were straw mats, but later they were replaced by three-tier bunks. This is a typical washroom. The yard to Block 11 is where no one wanted to be. Facing the entry is a death wall where people were shot as a method of execution. The windows in Block 10 and 11 were covered so that inmates could not see the executions of other prisoners. The post with hooks, which is known as the post in the yard, was used as a punishment. Prisoners had their hands tied behind their back and were hung, so their feet could not touch the ground. The SS shot nearly 5,000 people. This is the entrance to Block 11. Outside the camp kitchen was the collective gallows. This was used to intimidate prisoners during roll call. They were usually the ones trying to escape. They were executed on the gallows by hanging. This is the roll call square, and the reconstructed booth is where the SS man in charge would supervise the proceedings. The roll call would take place daily in the mornings and could last for hours depending on the weather. This is the path that they would all line up on. Here are barbed wire fencing to stop anyone escaping. We next move on to the site of the execution of the camp commandant, which in April 1947 the Polish Supreme National Tribunal sentence of death by hanging was carried out. The hardest part of the visit are the gas chambers and crematoria. Before the war, this building was a Polish army ammunition bunker. Its largest room was designated as a morgue to hold the bodies of murdered prisoners. From the autumn of 1941 to the beginning of December 1942, the morgue served as a gas chamber. In the crematorium, there are furnaces and tracked carts for moving corpses around. We now move on to the second camp, Birkenau, which is about 1.5 miles from Auschwitz I. The entrance gate, which trains carrying Jews to destruction, arrived from May 1944. It also served as the main SS guardhouse. The train stopped at the ramp or unloading platform that was the central point of the camp. The wooden barracks were designed for 400 people. There were no windows and the only light reaching the interior through skylights in the roof. There was either a bunk bed or 3-tier sleeping platforms designating for 15 prisoners. The heating system consisted of 2 stoves. This was the destination for trains carrying more than 500,000 Jewish deportees to Auschwitz. The majority of the new arrivals were classified by SS doctors as unfit for labour and murdered that same day in the gas chambers several hundred metres away. The wagon was placed at the ramp in 2009 as a reminder of the conditions in which people were brought to the camp. Rail was the main form of transport used by the Germans for deportation to Auschwitz. In 1914 to 1941, trains stopped at a siding adjacent to Auschwitz I. This made it possible to speed up and simplify the process of extermination. Previously, the people doomed to die were carried by truck or went on foot to the gas chambers under SS escort. The monument to the victims is at the end of the railroad platforms. This was placed here in 1967. There are various languages spoken by deportees to Auschwitz. There are ruins of gas chambers and crematoria to both sides at the end of the ramp. Human ashes were strewn into two ponds visible next to Crematorium 2. The two circular brick structures located several score metres to the left of the ruins were mechanical, biological waste treatment facilities. The brick barracks were designed for 700 people, containing 60 three-tier bunkers. The prisoners slept on straw scattered on the boards of the bunks without pillows. When the barracks were overcrowded, several people shared a single blanket. My name is Darren Lovett, and thank you very much for watching this postcards collection special. If you do like what you see, please subscribe.